Oh, it's chucking it down, it's chucking it down. But look at that, it's making for some beautiful atmospheric conditions. So let's get the old photography bag because I want to talk a little bit about my beloved Nikon Z7 in today's video. Now, as most of you know, I shoot with two different cameras. I've got my Nikon Z7, which is what I'm out shooting with today in this beautiful atmospheric woodland. I've had it for about 4.5 years. However, I've also got a micro four thirds camera that I use regularly, an OM system, OM5. And both of these cameras serve various different purposes, which I'll get into in this video. Now, I got a YouTube comment recently, and it's a fantastic question from a guy called David Tripp. And sorry, David, I didn't actually reply to you because it was such a good question. I wanted to make a whole video about it. And he asked me this. He said, given what you said about your micro four thirds kit in this particular video, I was praising my OM5. He said, I wonder how often you take a photo with your full frame Nikon kit and think, I'm really glad that I had that with me. That photo would not have been as good on micro four thirds. Basically, what makes carrying the heavier full frame gear worth it? And really, it was just a question that made me think, it made me question, why do I even shoot with my Nikon Z7 anymore? My OM5, my micro four thirds camera, has got so many advantages. I love shooting with it. And it's a question that I hadn't addressed. It was kind of going off in the background of my head every time I went out and shot with the Nikon. You know, this thing's heavy, this thing's bulky, why am I using it when I've got that tiny little OM5? And that's what I wanted to address in this video. What's the point in shooting with my Nikon Z7 anymore? And over the past few months, I've been thinking, is it the end of my Z7? I love my micro four thirds gear. What's the point in having it anymore? Should I just have one camera and be done with it? Oh wow, I've come out today to this woodland. It's December the 1st. I've come out to try and see if I can eke out any last little bit of autumn, which is probably clutching at straws a little bit, but we've got some nice colours here on this. I think it's a beech tree, and there's a few little bits and bobs dotted about. So mission success so far. Now to try and get some photographs. I'm trying something a little bit experimental with this photograph. You can see I've got the Nikon Z7 out, I've got it on the tripod. However, I'm actually not using the tripod here. Now my composition's exactly the same as what I wanted to go for when I first arrived here and looked at this tree. I'm just sort of zooming in. I'm at just over 70 millimeters and just getting a little sort of 5x4 crop of all of the vibrancy along with the kind of, I don't know, the bottom section of the tree trunk itself. So it's reasonably intimate, you know, we're quite zoomed in, it's not a big wide woodland scene. However, what I was doing at first was putting the ISO up, opening up the aperture, all to get a quick shutter speed because I wanted to freeze the motion in some of these leaves, but it just felt a little bit boring to me. And so what I decided to try instead is just take the camera off the tripod, and I'm just trying to move my camera deliberately, intentionally as the photograph is firing off. So settings wise, 1/4 of a second at f6.3, ISO 64. So, you know, quite a long shutter speed. And I'm pressing the shutter, 2-second timer, and I'm just moving the camera up and down like that. And it is complete and utter trial and error. I still want to get, oh, see, that's quite nice. I still want to get the shape of the tree, and I don't want it to be so abstract that you don't know what's going on. I still want it to be obvious that it's kind of like, oh, that's nice. An autumnal looking tree. And yeah, I'll do this for probably another 2 or 3 minutes, get loads of images on my memory card, and then see which one I like. Now, Now, going back to my Nikon Z7, and why do I even bother shooting with it anymore if my OM5 ticks so many boxes? Let's rip into it even just a little bit more, because what I did at home is I sat down and I made a list of all the reasons why the OM5 is brilliant, why the Micro Four Thirds camera is fantastic, and then I also made a list of why the Nikon Z7 is fantastic. And I'll tell you this now, the list for the old OM5 is a heck of a lot bigger than the list for the Nikon Z7. Now, before we get to this list of positives with the OM5 versus the Z7, I just wanted to say another big thank you to Squarespace for sponsoring today's video. So it's a real pleasure to work together with Squarespace. If you've never heard of them, they are an online platform that you can use to build your own website, simply put. So you go onto their website and build your website. But build sounds a little bit complicated. It isn't, honestly. If you've got a dream to build your own website, it is so easy through Squarespace. They've got loads of templates that professionals have created. You literally just pick one of the templates, chuck in some text and images, and within a couple of hours, honestly, you will have a website up and running. It's really easy for me to recommend Squarespace as well, because my own website is through Squarespace, and it was through them before I was sponsored by them. And I also use it to sell products, to sell prints and my calendar, and advertise my workshops and photo tours. And you can do that as well. You know, you might just want to use it as a portfolio, but just know that you can sell stuff as well. If you ever perhaps had a dream to try and sell some prints, you could do that through Squarespace again. And once again, it's a running theme. It's so easy to do that as well. And last but not least, they have got award-winning customer service. So if you're ever struggling, which you probably won't because it is, again, so easy, but they're always there to give you a helping hand if you need. So if you would like to give them a go, head over to squarespace.com/Henry Turner, or hit the QR code or hit the link in the video description below. Either of those will give you a 14-day free trial. So you've got nothing to lose. You can give it a go. You don't have to spend a penny. If you like your free trial, be sure to use the offer code Henry Turner at checkout to get 10% off your first purchase, and it really helps me out as well because it tells Squarespace that I sent you, and thus hopefully they will continue to support this channel. Right, let's go into this list of all the things that I love about the OM5, especially when compared to the Z7. Just looking at the screen there, by the way, I'm sorry, it looks so dark. I'm using my action camera, it is genuinely just so dark. So apologies for that. Anyway, advantages of the OM5. It's on my Micro Four Thirds camera. It's much smaller and lighter than the Z7. It's a more compact system overall, including the lenses. It fits in a hip pack, so I don't need to go out with a backpack. It's got built-in neutral density filters, so I don't need to go out with physical neutral density filters. It has got incredible image stabilization, which means that I don't have to go out with a tripod. So I don't have to go out with a backpack. Like I said, I can use my little hip pack. It's got computational features, which the Z7 does not. So things like the high-held, high-resolution mode, the live ND mode, things like that. This is really important, actually. It's quite quiet. That's one thing that I really like about it. So if I'm doing travel photography or street photography, it's compact. You know, I feel like in many senses it's the same as using a phone. People aren't really looking at you, whereas the Z7 is quite large physically. And I had another really important one on here. It encourages spontaneity, so it's kind of always there, and that was the whole point with the Micro Four Thirds system. That's why I bought it in the first place. It's in this little hip pack. I'm reacting to the light. Now let's get into the Z7, because honestly, I could only find a couple of reasons as to why I'd rather pick that camera up and go out and shoot with it over my OM5. Oh man, this rain is not, it's dark, but it's beautiful. It's exactly why I wanted to come to this woodland, and I want to keep wandering. I'd like to try and get another photograph, at least another one. Now, Z7, two reasons why I'd prefer to pick it up and go out and shoot with it over the OM5. Firstly, I'd be lying if I didn't mention this, the image quality is considerably better on it. It's a 47 megapixel sensor, the sensor's twice the size as the OM5. You know, it's no surprise. I knew it was going to be better even when I bought a Micro Four Thirds camera. And that comes with benefits. It means, you know, I can crop more aggressively, I can use higher ISO values, and it's noticeable. When I'm editing in Lightroom, when I'm doing local adjustments, when I'm zooming in on the image quality is beautiful. However, it's not a massive deal. It's more of like a nice to have, because if you get obsessed with that, it's a slippery slope. Like, I could want better image quality than the Nikon Z7, and there's loads of cameras that are better than it, higher megapixels, bigger sensors, etc. The OM5, in terms of image quality, gives me what I need and more. So it's not a massive deal, but it's this second reason as to why I still love shooting with my Z7, and I don't think I could get rid of it. And it's simply how the Nikon Z7 makes me go out and shoot. I'm a different photographer when I'm using it. It doesn't have the built-in neutral density filters, so I have to bring out physical filters. The image stabilization on the Z7 is fantastic, but it's not ridiculously good to the point where I don't have to bring out a tripod with me. It's a bit bigger, so I have to bring out the backpack. And it's all of these things compounded that mean when I go out with the Z7, I just slow down. It's not necessarily which camera I'm using, it's what sort of photo shoot, what sort of photographer does that camera make me? And yeah, the Z7 is the camera that I grab when I just want to go out and relax and enjoy the process of photography and to chill out. Put it this way, there's two different sides to it. You know, the OM5 and OM system cameras in general are fantastic examples of modern tech in cameras that make our job as photographers so much easier, and they have their place. I love it. You know, I use it probably more than 50% of the time now over my Z7. But the more technology advances and AI advances and these camera features get better and better, there's a massive part of me that just wants to go back to sort of several years ago and use an old DSLR, and you know, even those compared to film cameras are basically little computers. But you know what I mean? I hope some of you can relate with this. I just enjoy the Z7, and I could probably never get rid of it because it's the camera that I pick up when I just want to go out and relax, slow down, be more intentional with my photography, and yeah, go out and shoot in a completely different way. Now, I feel like it's also really important to say that all of the things that I've just mentioned about the Z7, I can still do that with the OM5 if I wanted to. I could still use physical features and a tripod, and I could still go out and slow down with it. But honestly, I know myself, I just won't. I wouldn't do it. And that's not the reason why I bought the OM5 in the first place. I bought it because I wanted it to be, you know, a tiny little camera that's in a hip pack that I'm just reacting to that all the time. And it's almost like the same concept as a phone in your pocket. It's just there as a tool to be used and abused to take photographs whenever it suits. And yeah, it's more about like what mindset that camera puts me in. The OM5 puts me in a mindset of, I'm going out today to try and get some good photos, to react to the light, and let's go for it, you know? Whereas the Z7 puts me in a mindset of like, I'm not really bothered if I get any decent shots today. I just want to chill out and enjoy that kind of tactile side of using a camera. And look, the Z7 is still an incredible modern camera with loads of bells and whistles. It's not like I'm out shooting film versus a modern camera. But I don't know what it is. Hopefully some of you can relate with this. I feel like certain cameras to me force me to go out and shoot in a certain way, and I just really like that about my Z7. Oh man, I'm generally, vast majority of the time, really positive when I'm out shooting and making these videos, because that's just the way that I feel. Today, if I was to be positive, it would be blind positivity, because I'm just going to say it. I'm not moaning, I'm not being negative for the sake of it. It's grim. It is grim, and I'm not particularly enjoying it. I never say that, because I never feel it, but it's just, it's not great. It's not so much the rain, it's so dark, man, and uninspiring, like the weather. And I just want to try and be honest, and look, it happens. Like, sometimes we're out with our cameras and you get this feeling, like I say, it's quite rare for me, but you get this feeling where you're like, it's not really for me, this, man. Like, I just want to go home and have a cup of tea. That's exactly what I'm going to do. So I could only apologise. There's going to be no more images. However, I have said my piece about the camera, and a massive thank you to David for that comment, that question, because like I said, it was always something that I was thinking subconsciously, but I'd never actually sat down and addressed it. So that was a fantastic comment. And please do comment down below on the video if you want. I'd love to know if you feel the same way, if you relate with this. Do you have a camera that makes you shoot, forces you to shoot in a certain way? Do you have more than one camera, like I've tried to explain in this video, where they both serve different purposes? Do you have a camera that's you kind of go to when you want to go out and shoot fast? Do you have a camera that you go to when you want to go out and shoot slow and take your time? I don't know, whatever it may be. Thank you very, very much for tuning in. I'm mad for the cup of tea. I'm slipping and sliding all over the gaff. See you on the next adventure. Out.